Hi friends, welcome to another day of quarantine. Today's video is going to be different than what I had planned. Last night Ryan started developing a fever. It's very mild right now, and he does have a cough, so that has me very worried. But today is our anniversary. And I wanted to do a video of the two of us just kind of talking about our love story. But right now, he's not feeling good. So I may ask him some questions later. He's taking a nap right now. So when he wakes up, we'll see if he's up to answering questions or not. But in all these dark times, I just kind of wanted to give you some joy. Something happy. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of our love story. Aww! So, for those of you who don't know, we went to the same college. We went to Olivet Nazarene University. He was a year ahead of me, so we were at school together for 3 years. We had a lot of the same friends, but did we meet? Nope. We've actually compiled a list, we call it the people on our bad list, who knew both of us, but didn't think to introduce us. So he graduated in 2001, I graduated in 2002. Yes, we are that old. Graduated from college a long time ago. Almost 20 years for him. Oh my goodness. Whoa. So I had graduated, and he was still in the area. We actually were going to the same church, Kankakee First Church of the Nazarene, and I was singing in the choir. And that summer, he noticed me in the choir, and I was sitting next to a friend of his, Heather. He was in the congregation with Heather's husband, Hassan. And so he's like, who's that girl your wife's sitting next to? Oh, that's Lori. Oh, what's her story? Well, at the time, I was in the process of job interviews and all that, and my plan was to move away from Illinois. I've been trying to get away from Illinois for a long time. Obviously, I am still here. Anyway. So he just kind of went, oh, she's moving, never mind. It was probably middle of August. I was with my mom and a friend of hers, and we were chatting about, a possible going away party for me before I moved. And at the time she looked at me, my mom's friend, Kathy, was like, why are you leaving when there's this guy that's crazy about you? Like, what guy? What are you talking about? And then she's like, Ryan something. And I was like, oh yeah, that helps, because there are about 1 billion Ryans that went to Olivet when I did. It's a very popular name. And so I just kind of, okay, whatever. I did ask Heather, I was like, who is this? And so she pointed him out to me. I was like, oh, okay. And I do remember him from Olivet. We had kind of, when you run the corner and the person comes around from the other side and you almost run over each other. We had one of those kind of meetings. I was like, oh, he's cute. And then I think the next day I saw him with a girl. And the mentality at Olivet is, if you are seen with a member of the opposite sex, it is assumed that you are dating and you're going to get married. So, I saw him with a girl. It was probably his girlfriend at the time. But I was like, oh, he's with somebody, never mind. And I just never thought about him again. Until Heather told me that he liked me. I was like, oh, well, he was interested. So, it was finally, so at the end of August, I found out I didn't get the job, and I wasn't moving, and I was devastated. And I remember crying to my mom, why would God get me so excited about this job and then take it away from me? And she's like, well, maybe you need to stay so some boy will get off his butt and ask you out. Oh, maybe. And then at the end of September, we finally met. We met at church. It was Sunday night service. I was in the choir with Heather, and I saw that Ryan was sitting with her husband Hassan, and I was like, hey Heather, do you mind if I come sit with you after choir, during the sermon? She was like, sure, no problem, because she knew what I was doing. I didn't make it really subtle anyway. And Ryan had been doing the same thing. He was going to keep sitting with Hassan in hopes that I would come and sit with Heather after church. And so when I did, he was like, he whispered, like, I forget what he said. I'll have to ask him. But it was something about, like, it's now been reduced to 6 feet or something like that. And so we were formally introduced after church, and the first thing that struck me was his handshake. Don't know, it was, because, I've always been taught, you give a firm handshake. Don't do the dead fish kind of thing. But as I went to give him a firm handshake to kind of impress him with my handshake, he kind of closed his fingers early. And so, like, my hand was like this instead of a good handshake. And so I was like, is he going to kiss my hand? What? So that's the first thing. That's the first thing that struck me about him. And we kind of chatted for a little bit that night. And then every Sunday, I was like, I would sit with him. We would chat after church in the morning and in the evening. And then our first date was in October, at the end of October. And that consisted of like a whole weekend, pretty much. We went out Friday. He came out to my house on Saturday because we had a block party chili dump our block did that every fall. So he came out for that and watched a movie. And then Sunday I went with him because he went to go preach for a friend who was out of town. So our first date, I went and watched him preach. Oh, and I did want to, before I forget, squirrel. The ordination service, they've been working on trying to see if they can get it done this summer or fall, so we won't have to wait till next year because they don't want to wait till next year. So anyway, back to my story. So we started dating in October, and then by the end of December, beginning of January, we were discussing getting married. At the end of January, we started looking at engagement rings. I do remember February 1st is when we went and found my engagement ring. I do remember it's that day because we woke up to the news of the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrating as they came back from space. I just remember that was a horrible thing to wake up to, and then I'm gonna go look at engagement rings. And I was just kind of struggling with that whole thing that day. It was an odd day for me. Well, we had gone to a loose diamond sale, so we picked out the diamond, and then we picked out the mounting and all that. And then I remember the guy was like, so if we put her name on the list, then she has visitation rights to it, and she can come I can go visit my engagement ring at the store if I wanted to. And Ryan was like, no, don't give her visitation rights. And the guy was like, why? He's like, well, what if she comes to look at it and I've picked it up because I'm planning to propose? Oh, okay. So I was like, I don't need to go visit my engagement ring. That's silly to me. So he had said that he had planned to propose the first day of spring and then got impatient and proposed a few days before because it was like one of the first nice days of spring. So that was March 16th. And so that started us wedding planning, all that stuff. We had set the date for, see if you can see it here. We have April 24th, 2004. That was the date we had planned. And then February hit. I really call that my month of hell. It was just not fun. Starting off with the worst thing that could ever happen. Well, not the worst thing, but it's pretty devastating. I dropped off my wedding dress at this lady who I was trying to save money, so she was going to alter my wedding dress for me. She had it a week, and then her house burnt down, destroying my wedding dress 2 months before the wedding. I remember it was Friday, February 13th, when I got the news. I was able to get a replacement dress within a week. No big deal. But then there was a lot of stuff, and like, it was just not fun for me anymore. And one night I just remember I was like, let's just go to the courthouse tomorrow and be done with this. You know, I'm just tired of this. And so I think Ryan and we were up so late just discussing everything. I even went home and we talked on the phone like till late in the night about how can we make this wedding fun for both of us, a good representation of us. And so that next day he was off of work, so he was doing a bunch of stuff. And he called me, he's like, okay, this is what we can do. We can move it up to March 27th. I was like, okay. I was like, that's a month from today. He's like, yeah. But we simplified so many things. And then I was checked with David's Bridal. They were able to get my dress done in time. So we ended up having a family-only ceremony. We had it at the chapel at Olivet, or the college that we went to. We had a very Olivetian wedding for sure, because we had a professor from Olivet perform the ceremony. He was a professor that we both had in class, and we both really liked him, and we see him around town still. He's still in the district. He's still at Olivet. We see him quite often, and so it's awesome to talk to him 16 years later. We had the lady who did the music. At the time she was associated with Olivet. She's not anymore. My grandpa did a special prayer, and he has all 3 of his degrees from Olivet. And also in the audience there were 3 future Olivetian alumni. And my cousins, Trevor and Tiffany and Haley, they all have since graduated from Olivet. So, and now 16 years later, we're celebrating in quarantine. And not that we could do anything special anyway, like we couldn't go on a weekend trip because tax season, and now he's a pastor, so Sundays are taken. So it's like we couldn't really do anything anyway. We would probably just have gone out to eat. But our church board remedied that, and I'm so blessed. We are. They texted us that there's a fancy Italian restaurant nearby that is doing deliveries during this quarantine. So we texted our order to them. They are ordering it. It's being delivered for dinner tonight. So it's dinner on the church. I'm so thankful for that. These are happy tears, I promise. Anyway, so I hope you're having a good day. Today is a good day. It is a good day. Even though it's gloomy outside, it's still a good day. So care of yourself, wash your hands, all that, so you can take care of others. And I will see you tomorrow, or some other day. We'll see. Bye. Okay, so here's our dinner for tonight. We have a salad, and we ordered some pasta fajoule as well. We have bread. Ryan ordered seafood Alfredo. I ordered the lasagna. And I ordered one piece of cake, but they brought us two. So, yay! Okay, first question. How are you feeling?
Sick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm tired, so I'm sick and tired.
Oh, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired? Okay. Alright, so I kind of did a brief overview earlier of how we met, all that, but I wanted to hear your side of everything. Like, when we first met, what was your first impression of me, like, all that.
So
or when you first saw me, or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, I was, we went to the same church. We had some mutual friends. They were more my, there was two coworkers of mine, and so we spent a lot of time together. And so, at church I noticed that my friend's wife sang up in the choir, and then there was this young lady. There was something about her. I've done this before.
I know. I was hoping you wouldn't do it.
Oh, you know what I wouldn't do? Oh, there was something about her I saw from all the way. And I thought, I'd like to get to know a person just a little bit more. And so then, that was just kind of the thing. I had a plan for strategic seating, and I figured if I sat by my friend enough times, Sunday morning, Sunday night, one of those times she was going to actually come down with her friend Heather. So that's how it did. That's what worked.
So what did you say to Hassan when I finally sat next to Heather after choir? You said something about it had been reduced to 6 feet or something like that?
Oh, the distance has something. The distance is shortened or something about the, But the other thing, too, is I was really upset with my friend just because I had inquired months earlier. So I had inquired in probably May. Somewhere around May, because graduation. It was around graduation time, and she had just graduated, and so somewhere around then is when I initially inquired, and that's when he had said something about, she's graduating, she's got plans to go to do some sort of go in some other state, some other city, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I won't worry about it. She's going somewhere, then no point pursuing anything. And then it was like later on, like 3 months later, and I noticed she was still singing in the choir, she was still there, and I thought she was leaving, and inquired again. That's when I found out she was actually, things had fallen through, and so she was going to be staying. Okay, you should have told me that, because I clearly inquired about it, and the fact that he didn't say anything about it later, that was kind of irritating. So anyway,
it's kind of like all our friends that we had together at Olivet who never thought about us being together and introducing us. So Hassan can kind of be on the bad list too.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else did we want to talk about? Oh, the wedding day, since it is our anniversary today.
Yeah, I was drugged up.
That's true, I forgot about that.
I was drugged up and gimpy.
He sprained both of his ankles.
Yeah, I had a week and a half before the wedding, I rolled one ankle, and then they had basketball night on. It was like Mondays and Thursdays. So Monday night, I skipped the Monday before the wedding, because I wanted my ankle to get better. And then on Thursday, 2 days before the wedding, I went and played again. And this time I rolled the other ankle 10 times worse than the other one. It was not. So I spent Friday and Saturday morning just popping ibuprofen. Had a 5-gallon bucket that I was filling with ice water and trying to keep the swelling down. my shoe barely fit around my foot. I was drugged up.
And my mom worked at an assisted living center, so I was like, I can get some wheelchairs or wheelchair, and we'll borrow that for you.
Yeah, just roll me down there.
Yeah, so there was no carrying me over the threshold or anything like that. That was not going to happen.
Nope.
But I didn't say anything about the kiss.
Oh, you kept that, left that for me, huh?
Yeah, I left that.
Yeah, so I mean, we had the rehearsal thing on Friday night, and get towards the very end, and Dr. Dalton, he's going through. We're just walking through, quickly going through stuff, and he said something about, here's the point. Here's the point where you just dip her and lay one on there, and he made a comment along those lines, and as I always tell him, just go ahead and do that, and nobody ever did that for him, and so I always like a challenge. If somebody says, "Oh, you won't do that,"
that's all I needed to hear.
I do all kinds of silly stuff. So yeah. So then I just talked to her, and I'm like, "Okay, let's do it. Let's practice it." So we practiced like which way I would turn, where I would hold her. We went through everything, and
we practiced a lot.
Yeah, we practiced. Yeah, and then the main thing was, I said, "Okay, when we pull you in a little close." Just give me a little nod so I know, like, if you want to change your mind, you can change your mind. It's up to you. This is your wedding, not mine. You tell me what you want to do, and so in the video you can tell, like you see right before you see her give a little nod to tell me, hey, it's okay, and then did the full rotation dip onto my strong leg, because like I said, my one leg was not good, but. Yeah. That's why we practiced the night before too, was just to make sure my foot was gonna handle it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. And then the one mistake that we made on our wedding day was forgetting the marriage license and asking his younger brother to go to the apartment to pick it up.
And we actually have a picture of it. So there's one picture as we're coming out. It's a picture my older brother took from outside of the prayer chapel and the wedding chapel and all that stuff. And my younger brother, he was one of the first ones to come out, because Lori and I come out, and my younger brother came out, and I realized at some point I remembered I forgot the marriage certificate, and we needed to have it at the reception dinner. And so my brother came out, I gave him the keys, and I'm like, hey, I need you to go to my apartment, here's where it is. And he, oh, no problem. And so then we greet everybody on the way out, and my apartment was not far from, it was really close to where the wedding was. And so we get everybody coming out, we get all the way to the restaurant where we had the reception, and my younger brother still wasn't there, and it took him a while. And that's when I was really suspicious. I'm like, it should not take that long. And so he came back, he brought the marriage certificate and all that, and then later on, after the reception was all done, we get back to my apartment to drop stuff off, and everything was messed up. So the pantry, all the stovetop stuffing, hamburger helper boxes were hid underneath cushions and all over the place. The canned goods, the canned goods. None of the canned goods had labels on it. They were all, so it's just a bunch of tin metal cans. So you don't know the difference between green beans or carrots or fruit cocktail. And so yeah. So that was a learning lesson there.
Yeah, so the plan was we were just going to stay the night at the apartment. Start off in our new apartment. Well, it was his apartment. I moved in with him once we got married. And then when we were cleaning this up, it's like, we don't want to stay here. So we ended up, we'll just drive north until we find. And we drove a long way to find a hotel to stay at. But, yeah.
Yep.
It was still a good day.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's it. Happy anniversary.
Any other questions?
Did you have anything else?
Did you have questions about honeymoon night?
Oh no, we're not gonna go into that. This is clean.
Okay.
This is clean. Anyway.
She basically rubbed my ankle. It was so swollen and sore. She just rubbed my ankle for hours.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yep.
Anyway. So, happy anniversary, hon. Okay. We're not kissing on lips because...
social distancing.
Although, I've already been exposed anyway.
Yep.
Oh well. But we just finished dinner that the church gave to us, and that's why I got this stupid light on behind him that makes him look so angelic, right?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, but, we've just hung out today.
I just napped.
He napped a lot. We're calling it the Quarantine 16, because that's what it is.
That's just what it is.
Anyway, but we wanted to share this with you, so thanks for listening. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.